Hello, this is Will from JourneyToWallStreet.blogspot.com. I'm here to review the trades for April 13th, 2012. I had lots of trades today, so let's just get right to the charts. So one of the first trades I had this morning was in JCI. It just looked strong, and I know that's not a really good reason to get in the trade, but I did. So I got in long above this candle here, and I wanted to be super tight, so I drew a little trend line, and as you can see, I got stopped out by this little wick. Later on, I saw a 15-minute inside bar right here that I went short on because it ticked lower. Worked initially, but as you can see, it traded up before it went back down, so I was stopped out of here for 2 quick losses. Another trade I was in Veco. So initially I was watching this stock because really strong off the open, came back and started to make a little cup pattern. So I was just anticipating a cup and handle. So I was kind of just waiting, and I thought once I saw these candles here, I thought, okay, this is the handle opportunity, because as you know, for a cup and handle pattern, what's supposed to happen is a handle develops, and here's the clear cup line, and from there the stock just shoots up. But as you can see here, the handle never developed, and I ended up being stopped out of this trade. Another part of my game plan yesterday was to trade Cstr. They had earnings yesterday, or leaked earnings, and I was first looking at the stock kind of right off the open, and I saw that 69 level was doing a little bit of selling, so I thought, a short against 69 might be okay. The 69 hold, so I shorted there, but I got stopped out. I believe it was right here actually. I wanted to be really tight with my stop, shorted, stopped out, and then I decided to give it another try, but I was stopped out again. Had I given it a third try, then I would have did pretty good on this trade, but it wasn't really a real play. Somewhat of a tape trade, but not really. But it just didn't work. Another trade I was in was an ITW. So I was looking at this sort of from a pullback perspective. It was making a little bull flag here, and I was just kind of watching it for a way to get short on this pullback. So I shorted about 30, right around there, and I had to have my stop above this high wick of this candle. And the idea was, if it can trade below 20, which is where the bottom of this flag would be, then chance for a big follow through. It kind of stalled for a while, and I ended up just calling it around right here. I was expecting a bigger drop when this flag was broken, but it never happened. Had I maintained my original stop on the entire trade, then I would have captured this move, the move that I thought was going to happen here. But I couldn't stay on long enough because it just felt like dead money. I wasn't doing anything, so I got out. Would have been nice though. I can't guarantee that I'll capture this entire move, but at least some of it, if I was still in it, of course. The other trade I was in JP Morgan. Had earnings this morning, and I had an earnings play which I will get to later, but essentially a gapped lower, then it came back up and then started to sell off, and I wanted to get involved in this move off the open, but I just really couldn't get a feel for the tape, and I just didn't know what offered the best risk reward entry for me, so I stuck with what I did know. I was waiting for some entry, and I saw a 2-minute inside bar here. So I just went short below with my stop above 50, and yeah, it started to work right away. I took some profits around down here. It retraced, came back down, and I got stopped out of some here, or I took some profit somewhere here, and I thought it could make a bounce and try to trade back up. So I got out about where that red line is, around here. But again, had I stuck with it, then maybe I would have seen that this was just a pullback, and maybe I would have maintained my stop from up here, and I would have been able to capture at least some of this down move. But I had already been out. So this morning was just tough for me. I would make a little and then lose it all back, and make a little more and lose it all back. Wells Fargo, another trade I was in. I knew financials were weak, so I just wanted to get involved. I just didn't know exactly how. So I noticed a 30-minute inside bar that was happening. So I got short. I got short on this inside bar, and it worked okay. It worked okay. It kind of stalled out, and it just traded in a little downward channel for the rest of the way, and it just wasn't really doing much. Again, same story. If I maintained my original stop, then I might have been able to capture a lot of this move, but I started taking trades in here, and finally I just said forget it. I didn't want to have to deal with all this stuff. So I think I got stopped out of the rest of my position somewhere here, either there or there. Finally, my most profitable trade and my best one today was in Visa. So if you notice, Visa here, MasterCard here, both very similar. Opening drive off the open, came back and reversed the rest of the way. Visa, same story. Sort of made a kind of a cupish pattern here. Like, let's see if you can see it. Here's the cup, and here's a little handle here, and there's a cup line. So not a bad pattern, pretty strong indicator, but that wasn't why I was involved in this trade, even though it should have been a reason. So I was involved because of this inside bar here. Actually, I was looking at a 13-minute inside bar. So it's an inside bar within an inside bar. So it was a very, very tight inside bar. But I knew better, because I traded Visa before, and it's a really expensive stock. So it didn't make sense to be this tight. So I put my stop actually below this wick, even though I used this as the entry point. And that turned out to be one of the best ideas, because as you can see here, this little wick would have stopped me out. But because I traded Visa before, I didn't have to worry about that. So from that point, Visa kind of started to trend up. This wick, it didn't really bother me so much because my stop was down here. So if I were to get stopped out, it wouldn't have been the big deal. My next entry, or my next play, was in this area here, and I sort of didn't do what I didn't do what I should have done down here. I didn't do what I did here with what I should have done here. So at this point, I wanted to get really aggressive, and I wanted to get in with size. So I got in, I maxed my buying power on the break of this top bar, and because I had shares down here still, I just moved my stop up to this inside bar. And as I just told you what Visa does, it wicked me out. And I knew that it had a possibility to do that, but for whatever reason, that didn't cross my mind when I got in with this size. But once I saw that it was just a real quick bounce through and started to trade up higher and through my original entry, I got right back in with all the shares that I wanted, that with my full max position again around here, around 75. And I used the same stop at 60, so I was risking 15 cents at that point. So it started to consolidate for a little while under 90 cents. Initially I was thinking about offering 90 to just get out of some, but I really wanted to see if it can break above 90, because I had about a 15-cent risk here, and to just get 15 cents, it wasn't really worth it. It's like, why even be in this trade if I was going to do that? So it broke out, and once it broke out, I had to take some sales, and I took some sales at 123, and from that point it started to break out, and it got a little overextended from the EMAs. I don't have it up here, but a little overextended, and I noticed that it started to consolidate in the 123.50 area. So I decided that I captured a really nice move already, and there was no sense of having a third leg, or risking this much move off of a third leg. So I decided to get flat, and it turned out to be a good decision, because Visa just traded down after that. So there you have it. Those were my day trades today. And let me just quickly go over some of my swing trades that I was talking about yesterday. So from yesterday, I said that I wanted to buy FAS because if there's a big potential earnings pop on WFC and JPM today, that FAS was gonna shoot up. But as you can see, that was not the case. FAS just tanked and traded down lower and lower. So I got the heck out of there. There was no sense of holding the stock any longer. So as soon as I was able to sell the option, I got out, no question. Sina, I kind of expected it to pull back a little, which is okay. It's kind of healthy. So my stop is still below at least the inside day, or maybe I can move it up to below yesterday's low. But I'm not too concerned with this just yet, because the chance of a big move is still possible. So I'm fine with this trade. Ren looking really good now. It broke above that pivot high, or that the recent high, and if you look even further in the weekly chart, oops, that's not where I wanted to go. Now we're above this area here. Actually, we traded above even that area here today. So there's absolutely no reason to get out. It's a very nice move, and yeah, we'll hold on and see how that goes. And by the way, I bought some call options, so if they expire in May, so I do have a time limit on this trade. But if it looks really good, then I have no problems with exercising the options. So there you have it for my trades and my swing trades. One thing I want to talk about is my goals for next week. As I told you the other day, I've been messing around with trade ideas, and I starting to learn more about how the alert system works and how to run back testing and things like that. Now I just need to find a strategy that can be profitable. So one of my plans was look for some very easy trade today, let's say Yum for example, because it was super strong, and find out what type of characteristics are there for this type of move. Is there a way that Trade Alert can tell me that something like this is happening, and how would it translate to an alert for an entry point? Because this would have been very nice. So it'll take a while to do that, but I think it'll be worth it at the end. One more thing I wanted to do was focus on my routine. I just have a really large to-do list that I want to do every day, and in order for me to stay consistent with that, I have to slowly add a step and add another step and try to build off of that. This is why I've been consistently doing, or trying to be consistent with my trade reviews or my video reviews, because once I start doing it, then I'm just going to keep it up, and I feel obligated to myself to make sure I at least have something. So hopefully I can kind of refine the things I want to do, prioritize it, and start doing it every day. Part of that is being able to do my nightly charting, which I attempted to yesterday, and I even made some potential game planning plays for today. But what's the point of making those plans and ideas when you don't trade them? So one thing I talked about yesterday was Google. Remember I said about the 151 area, how it bounced off of there quite a few times, and that I would kind of be interested. It could have it could have been a support play, could have been a bounce, but the whole thing is 150 to 651 was something that I should have been around to watch. And look what happened. As soon as it broke down below 151, look, I'll even go into the 2-minute chart. You see, as soon as it broke below, let me drill down even further and look at the 1-minute chart. One move, no bounces, nothing, boom, and it traded down, what, 20 points from there? That would have been insane if I caught that move. And I was fully prepared for it, but I just wasn't around to do it. So the whole thing is, why bother doing nightly charting if I'm not going to act on it? So every day next week, if I make a nightly plan, I have to trade it. It doesn't matter if it's 100 shares or 1,000 shares or whatever. If I made a plan, I have to trade it. So hopefully this will allow me to develop a routine where my nightly plans actually can translate into real actual trades that have potential to be very profitable. So that's that. More work this weekend, and looking forward to trading next week. Thanks for listening, and see you guys next week.